Okay. Hi everyone. My name is Rita. I'm representing AWEK today. So this is AWEK. You see, Absolute Women Empowerment. K is for KL. So before I go further, I think I just explain a bit about AWEK. AWEK is a colloquial Malay word. It represents the Malay. It represents the female tribe in Malaysia. You know, like people say, oh, there's an AWEK there. So AWEK is like, a lady or a girl. So what we want to emphasize in a deeper context is AWEK is women empowerment. We want to highlight that because I think there are many unsung heroes, especially women. So we want to highlight that actually women are as powerful and as at par with men, right? Right. So today, we have a very special guest. Actually, I'm quite like excited because I'm talking to a fighter, a physical fighter. You can fight for a lot of causes, but to fight physically is a different story altogether. So I hope everyone can extend their warm welcome to Colleen. Yeah, Colleen Augustine. Is that how I pronounce your name?
Yes, that's correct. Thank you
Right.
so much as well. I'm so honored to be here.
Sorry, I can't hear you. You have to speak up a bit, Colleen.
I, thank you so much for having me on, for talking to me, and especially on your platform too. It's an honor.
Okay. Thank you so much for spending a bit of your time today. I know you're a very busy person. Fighters, they have their clients, and on a daily basis, I'm sure you have to train clients, and besides training
Well,
yourself.
currently, currently I'm actually 2 weeks post op, so training has slowed down a lot for me. So,
Okay. What happened? Can you tell us a bit about that?
I had a knee surgery done 2 weeks ago
Mm-hmm.
for injury and pain that I've been having for the past 3 years. So I
Wow.
finally got to the root of the problem and we removed it. So now I am 2 weeks post op. So most of my quote unquote training is mostly on rehabilitation and strengthening again. So sadly, I can't go back to the MMA gym until my doctor and my physiotherapist has given me clearance to go back safely.
Okay. When you speak about injury, I did go through your Instagram. I saw that you had a nose injury. I mean, looking at those pictures, I feel like, oh my God, this is so scary. Like, you go through different type of injuries. I mean, and you don't experience the pain at the moment when it's crazy.
I think it's more of it's just that your body is just too filled with adrenaline. That's just how it is. Anyone, those listeners out there who themselves have competed, like you could literally like roll your ankle during a run or roll your ankle during training and just not feel anything until afterwards because your adrenaline is just too high that you think you're okay, but once the adrenaline is gone, that's when your body starts realizing a lot of things because adrenaline is something like a fight or flight response in your body. So your body is like, oh, we need to survive right now, so we cannot feel anything, so we can survive. Once we have survived the situation and we're safe, that's when adrenaline dump goes out, and then that's when your body is like, here, you're safe enough to feel everything that you've done.
Oh my God, it's so scary, man. That's so scary. I mean, like, I think the reality of you getting hurt, it kicks in later on after the fight, or is it like that?
I think I know I'm hurt because I can feel the impact to my nose. It's not something like, oh, I don't feel it. Like I do feel the impact and I know I'm bleeding. And I know that when she hits me again in the nose, I do feel the pain, but it's not enough for me to say like um it's not enough for me to say like, wow, this hurts so bad. Until afterwards do I feel like, wow, this actually hurts really bad. Then and there it's just more like it is it hurts, it's bleeding, so we need to watch out
Right.
for to make sure that it doesn't get hit again, sort of thing.
Oh my God. I mean, I think it's amazing because you already have that mindset. I'm a fighter and I have that mindset already of, you get yourself all psyched up for the fight, and injury is part of the game anyway. So to get hurt is
Yes,
is
for sure.
okay, yeah. But to sustain throughout the whole fight until the end, my God, that is crazy. You know?
I think it's I think it's like in any job or anything like that that you do, any sport that you play, you have to understand the risks that come with whatever sport you choose or any line of work that you choose. Construction workers, you need to accept the fact that things can happen. When you accept that, then you don't let that fear or that uncertainty stop you anymore. It's the same with fighting, where I understand by switching sports the risks I'm putting myself through in a sport like mixed martial arts. I understand that there's a lot of things that could happen to me, even if it's a 1% chance, because it's always a 5% to 1% chance that stuff can happen to you in the cage. You just never know. How much you prepare, you just never know when a freak accident happens.
Yeah.
And when you understand the risks that come with choosing a sport like that, then I feel like you'll be able to prepare for anything, because like this is bound to happen. When it happens, if it happens, you just got to deal with it. I think that when you've mentally prepared yourself and accepted everything in all phases and all factors, it gets easier. When it happens to you, you're just like, ah, I saw it coming. So you're just more prepared. You're just like, oh, okay, now I need to fix it from here. I need to do this from here. And it won't be as overwhelming. Like you're going like, oh my goodness, I can't believe this happened to me. Whereas you kind of go with a mindset of, okay, so this has happened now. So what can I do from here?
Right, right. Yeah, I think it's important to have that mindset, and you know what you're getting yourself into anyway, and it's something really physical. I think if it was my mom, she'll be at the sidelines, either shouting for me to stop, or hit that person. You just finish
Oh,
her or
my
something.
mom is the latter. My mom is the latter.
Oh my God.
So when I heard my nose was the Asian Open in 2019, and my family actually flew over to watch me, because they said like, okay, we can afford going to Bangkok and there's like cheap prices now, so let's go. So my mom and my dad actually flew over just to watch me fight. My brother was already in my corner because I was like, my checking coach can come. So my brother actually fights Muay Thai and teaches Muay Thai.
Wow.
So yeah, so I told him, I was like, you are the only other person that I feel most comfortable with in my corner, because people in my corner is people whom I trust with my life. Meaning I know you know what's best for me, and I trust every word you say. I will never doubt you. So whatever they say, I will immediately do, because there's no thinking the cage. And my mom actually was there, and she actually watched the fight. Like at then and there, I tune everything out. So I can't hear my parents. I can only hear my professor and my brother in my corners. So only after when I rewatched the fight, I want to check my mistakes. Did I hear my mom? I was like, my mom is actually really, really loud. I was like, there was a crowd, but my mom was really loud. She was like, go,
Oh
Colleen,
my.
don't stop.
Yeah,
She's actually screaming so loud.
yeah. I mean, I think she has two sides of her. One side that she's really worried, but the other side she's really proud. She's really proud of you. Like, okay, go ahead
Yeah,
and finish her.
yeah,
Yeah, I mean that is
definitely. My mom is definitely like that.
yeah. I mean, like for myself personally, I will see like women fighters like, wow, this is one badass girl. Reminds me of Ronda Rousey, like that.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
I mean, you have to have that. I've seen a few fights lah, like McGregor, and I know it's maybe not something similar to what you're doing, or I'm not really sure, because there's a lot of categories of self defense, right? Like MMA, I don't know, you
Mm,
have Muay
uh,
Thai.
I would say calling MMA self-defense isn't fair to it, because mixed martial arts, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, wrestling, Sanda, Muay Thai, all of these are martial arts. They're an art form in itself. They have been used for the purpose of teaching self-defense. And I know many people who pick up these martial arts for the intention and purpose to learn how to defend themselves. So self-defense, which is wonderful, which is great. Like I highly encourage this, because it's wonderful to be confident with yourself and everything, your whole body and all these kinds of things. Like definitely I recommend. But I would never consider MMA or any of these martial arts as a self-defense art or a self-defense sport, because I respect, for me, coming from a perspective of a martial artist, where Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, Greco-Roman wrestling, freestyle wrestling, boxing, and all that, it is an art form. If you use it for your intention to learn to defend yourself, or you use that to defend yourself, that's wonderful. That's the whole purpose of martial art, is to give you that confidence to learn, but also in a sense where it is still an art form in itself. So if you're learning these for self-defense, that's good, but I would never say that these are considered self-defense sports or self-defense arts. They are martial arts on its own, just that we have used it for the intention of self-defense. Right. So because I feel like these art forms deserve the recognition that they deserve, because it took years of grandmasters and all that perfecting these techniques, teaching them, because martial arts is a culture in itself. It's not just a thing. It's like Muay Thai. When you do Muay Thai, you actually kind of immerse yourself slightly into the Thai culture too, where it originated from, because you gotta understand why in Muay Thai they do things the way they do. Why is it that you have this specific songs? Why do you do a Y crew? Why is it that when you fight Muay Thai specifically, there's these things? So you kind of learn the cultural background of the art, because it is an art form. It is same with Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. Sooner or later, we end up learning a bit of Portuguese here and there, even though we could be learning Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu in Abu Dhabi. We could be learning Brazilian in Europe, in France. But then the Portuguese language is just so stuck into the Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu martial art. Whereas it's the same that goes with many martial arts. Like Brazil, of course, that's the most obvious. Like karate, taekwondo, coming from Korea. They, of course, count in Korean. All the words and everything, you're going to learn that. Aikido, Jiu-Jitsu, because there's Jiu-Jitsu and Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. So Jiu-Jitsu is from Japan, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu is from Brazil. And then you have Judo and all that, where they use Japanese terms and that's where you learn more words like that. It's the same with Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, where we also derive some words from Japan, because Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu came from Japan and then went to Brazil, and then it changed a little bit. Right. So, when you start learning all these kinds of things, you kind of immerse yourself in a completely different culture just by learning that martial art. And you start understanding why a martial art is such a way, why there's so much discipline, or why the coach teaches it a certain way, or why there is a structure to certain things. So, I mean, it's more than what it is, more than just a self-defense, I would say.
Yeah.
Again, this is a martial artist point of view. Many people may disagree with me, which is wholeheartedly fine. This is just my opinion and me growing up doing martial arts since I was 6 years old until now. That's my point of view of things.
Right. I think to know it, to love it is to know it and to get into it. So you have been in it since 6 years old. Or, I think you have loved it for a really long time then. So actually, what made you, that 6-year-old girl? what made that 6-year-old girl started, doing this? Is it your family, your brother, or who?
My family, actually, because my parents wanted us to learn martial arts so that we were able to defend ourselves. Same derivative. We wanted to learn martial arts for the intention of being able to defend ourselves, to understand principles and stuff like this, because principles that you learn in martial art can very much be applied in the streets, very much, because you need to be alert and all these other things, So my parents put us, like a whole family of us, all of us, we did martial arts together. Since I could remember. So I picked up taekwondo when I was about 8 to 9 years old, and then my brother picked up wushu about the same time, and then he and my mom moved on to picking up aikido.
Wow.
And then shortly after that, I also joined them. So it became kind of like a family thing.
Right. So I can.
So we all three of us were doing Aikido 17, and so my brother picked up Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, and then he pulled me along with him because he's like, oh, it's so great, it's so fun, because he's a bit more social than I am. So he was like, he went with his friends, and then he was like, no, you gotta try this is so amazing, like it's so fun. Then I got pulled into Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, but as a family, even though we did different martial arts at the time, us as a family, we did Krav Maga because self-defense. But
Yeah.
then when I started wanting to fight or preparing to fight, I stopped Krav Maga because I wanted to focus on being able to fight more than trying to learn Krav Maga for self-defense. And my brother started switching from boxing to Muay Thai, and together started picking up other martial arts as it is, like wrestling and boxing and MMA and all that. So it's always been a family thing, even now. Like my dad, even though he doesn't do boxing now, he used to be a boxer in the military when he
Wow.
was in the our Malaysian military. So he was a boxer. So martial arts has kind of been, and fighting, I guess, has always been in our family and our blood. Because one way or another, my brother and I was fighting. My brother is fighting Muay Thai, and I'm doing MMA. And my dad used to be a boxer, so I feel like it's kind of in the blood.
It's a family fun thing.
It's a family kind of fun thing. Like it's never once that my parents ever said no, you can't fight. They've
Right.
never said that once to my brother and I.
Right.